Yo, this is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe you can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. Oh man, we got a whole lot of sports to get to today. Big fight in the women's boxing division, championship fight, heavyweight fight featuring the GOAT Claressa Shields. NBA is back after the All-Star break. You know, we right back to it, and a couple of other fight announcements that's going down as well. We're going to talk about a little bit later too. And I see y'all got college basketball in the comment section already. But before we get into all of that, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on, man?
What's really good, bro? Yeah, man. Some boxing, obviously NBA. We at that point now, Trip. NBA, we're close enough to where we can really start talking about who's a contender. We're close enough to the playoffs, MVP conversation I see in the comment section. So it's gonna be a good night, another good night.
Yes, sir. Let's just get the fight out the way really quick then. Congratulations to Claressa Shields. I don't know if this fight would have been different if it was a couple years ago, because her opponent is a little bit older than her. I don't know if that would have even made a difference really, but Claressa Shields was just way too fast for her that entire fight. It was just like, punch, and then Claressa Shields come back with punch. Like it was crazy watching her work. Obviously she didn't get the knockout, but you're not gonna get the knockout in every thought it was a pretty good fight. I wonder where Claressa Shields goes next, because I just don't feel like there's anybody really left. You know what I mean? Obviously we had to talk about the Layla Ali talk, but I don't even think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, realistically, I don't even want to see that fight. It's just not, if it was Prime versus Prime, then yeah, I would love to see that fight. But I don't want to see it, when Layla Ali's been out the ring for almost 20 years. That doesn't even make sense.
The Layla Ali fight, I mean, we talked about it a bunch of times, and I've said before, it does nothing for Claressa Shields, short term or long term. Like, yeah, you'll sell some tickets, but short term, people will, like you just said, will say, man, Layla been out the ring for over a decade.
Yeah,
you're fighting a fighter who's much older than you, who's been inactive for over 10 years. So what are you getting from it? Long term, I think it actually will look worse on her legacy, because again, people will remember it as somebody who was much younger, active, fighting somebody who had been out of the ring for so long. And Claressa Shields not only is the best fighter in the women's game right now, by most accounts, she's considered a top 5 all-time fighter. So, it's not like you were an average fighter fighting somebody for legacy. You were already a great, and you're kind of calling out somebody who hasn't been in the ring. I don't think there's really an opponent for her. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think business-wise, that's what's going to end up happening, because I don't think there is an opponent who is of her caliber who can get in the ring with her and make it interesting enough. She overwhelms everybody she's in the ring with. She is head and shoulders above, better than everybody she fights. And that's not her fault that the sport of women's boxing isn't on her level right now. She's just making everybody look really, really bad. So I don't know who that opponent might be. Like you said, Trip.
I don't see her going down to fight Katie Taylor, or Amanda Serrano.
I don't know if it would do much for her legacy. And the one thing about that I will warn is, I was going to use this comparison. Claressa Shields right now is dominating in her weight class and in the sport the way Roy Jones did during his peak, right? Where nobody even seemed close. And the one mistake Roy Jones ever made, in my opinion, was when he went up to light heavyweight and then tried to come back down and fight, what's my man name with the bald head that beat him?
Antonio Tarver.
Yeah, Antonio Tarver. And Antonio Tarver was a good fighter, but most people have all agreed and said the biggest reason Antonio Tarver was able to take advantage of him was that Roy Jones kind of was weight drained. He went up so much to come back down, and you're fighting, you're fighting a skilled fighter still. You're not fighting some bum on the street. You're fighting somebody who still can handle their business. Yeah. And he loses that fight that night. And that's not to take anything away from Antonio Tarver, but for Claressa Shields, do I think she could beat Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano? Absolutely. But is it worth putting your body through that just to see if you could beat them? No, I don't think it's worth it, because again, it's no reward off that. It's high risk, no reward.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Roy because I always say this, and I stand on this too. If Roy just stops after beating Ruiz for the heavyweight title, I
Yeah,
think Roy goes down as the GOAT, and I will stand
yeah.
on that. And my opinion has not changed. If he stops right after he beats Ruiz for the heavyweight title, he goes down as the GOAT.
I think the conversation around Roy would be completely different, and I think you're right. It would be similar to the situation we're in with Bud Crawford right now.
Mm-hmm.
If Bud never fights again, Bud is going to be in every top 5 discussion for the rest of his life. If Bud fights again, depending on the opponent, again, the only way that it benefits him is to actually win. He can't afford, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm just saying in terms of legacy, if he comes out of retirement, takes on a fight that isn't really worth it, and then loses somehow, we look at him completely different. And the same thing with Roy. The only thing I never liked about Roy's career was that he didn't fight Bernard Hopkins sooner.
Yeah.
Because realistically, when you look back at the footage, when Bernard Hopkins beat Tito Trinidad, him and Bernard Hopkins were supposed to get it on at that moment, and they didn't. They kind of prolonged it through business and dealings like we see all the time, negotiations. They fought much later in their career. That's the only fight I wish Roy would have taken at that moment because they both were in their prime, and it was the fight that was supposed to happen. Because Roy was going to already fight Tito Trinidad had he won. So the fact that Bernard beat him, Roy, you supposed to give him that fight, make it happen, but they did. But other than that, like you said, that's the one fight that changes Roy's legacy and the way we view him. He gets overlooked in so many of these conversations because from that Antonio Tarver fight, he struggled the rest of his career. So that's the one that changed everything for him.
Yeah, that's why I say if you stop at Ruiz, you know what I'm saying, like you in that conversation.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to basketball.
I love this question.
Shout out to Ron Charles. He says, should Jaylen Brown be the MVP front runner with SGA and Jokic missing a lot of games? Jaylen Brown and Cade should be the leaders. Yeah, I think they should at this point. Again, we still got a little bit of a ways to go. But you gotta have them ahead of Jokic. He missed a lot of time.
Yeah.
He probably, I believe, might have missed the most out of Shea, him, and Luka. He might have missed the most time this season, you know. And he's still dominating, but it's like, yeah, especially if you guys are saying now we have the rule with what is it, the minimum is what, 59 games, 60 games, something like that?
Isn't it 65 games?
5 games, yeah. So if we're basing it off of that, then you have to kind of tally in when you're taking into account the fact that, you know, these guys have missed a lot of games. I really have to. I would have to give the edge to Jaylen Brown right now, and you know that is because, you know, the storyline going into this season where, you know, these guys was going to be tanking, it's going to be at the bottom of the barrel, and Boston is in second place right now, just as good as any team in the Eastern Conference, maybe even just as good as any team in the league. And that is because Jaylen Brown has leveled up again and is playing on the MVP level. We know, you know, he's an Eastern Conference Finals MVP. We know he's an NBA Finals MVP. And now he's done leveled up again to where, you know, it's looking like he has a good chance at becoming the regular season MVP.
This is a great question. Shout out to Ron, because even when I first read it, I said, you know, not only is Ron right, I really think it might just be a two-horse race, pause, at this point, because Jaylen Brown has played so great. The Celtics are the number 2 seed in the East without Jason Tatum, and the fact that, let's not forget, Boston traded away Drew Holiday. They traded away Kristaps Porzingis before the season. They made moves in season. So they've reshuffled this roster a couple times. And Jaylen Brown, 29 points a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's third in points. He has been amazing this year. And if they keep up this pace, like I said, and do finish as the number 2 seed, they win the Atlantic Division over the Knicks. Right now, they got a 1-game lead over the Knicks for the division. How could you not give it to Jaylen Brown? For me, I am leaning a little bit more towards Cade because this has been probably the biggest shocker of the season. Did we think Boston would be this good? No. But we knew Jaylen Brown was good. As you said, he was a Finals MVP, Eastern Conference MVP, multiple-time All-Star already at this point of his career. So we knew Jaylen Brown was good. We just didn't know if he could take it up to another level as the best player on the team. For Cade, when you look at this Detroit team, it is really Cade and the guys. It's everybody else surrounded by Cade. And I think because Cade is one of the last true point guards, for him to kind of control games the way he does, 25.5 points, Trip, 6 rebounds a game, 10 assists a game. He's controlling it at a level that we only really see like Luka and Joker control the game, where they have impact at every part of the game. Both these guys are really good defensive players as well. As you always say, you got to play both ends of the court. They do that. I think it's those two guys. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Cade. Maybe I'm a little biased because Cade put a 40-piece on us at the Garden. I'm not going to lie, Trip. I might be biased in that way. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it's those two guys. The Joker point is great because Joker has only played 42 games this year. They've got 24 games left, so he can only miss 2 more games the rest of the year. That part gets interesting for Denver because he is their best player. Hold on, you muted.
I mean, he might have X'd himself out of the spot.
Well, it's not his fault. The injury kept him out. Yeah, the
No,
injury kept him out. Yeah.
You miss 2 more games, you X yourself out of the conversation.
Right. But like I said, for them, where it gets interesting is right now they're the 3 seed. Now they're 5 games behind San Antonio. San Antonio and Detroit about to tip off now. If Denver finds themselves in a spot, let's say last 2 weeks of the season, and it doesn't look like they could really move up to number 2, do you rest Joker for the playoffs? You know what I'm saying? If you know, like, hey, we're looking at being the 3 or 4 seed anyway, do we push Joker just to maintain the 3 seed? Or do we say, hey, look, we're okay with 3 or 4, and we might rest him every other game just to make sure he's as fresh as possible for the playoffs? Because that's the thing with Denver. They need him to be the best version of himself if they want to make another title run. Yeah. So he, like you said, he may have screwed himself and not be able to play enough games. I really think it's Cade. I think it's Jaylen Brown 1 and 2. However you want to rank it, I wouldn't be mad. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Cade. And then SGA is 3rd. SGA, I think, has had another great year. He's averaging over 30 points a game. But again, the totality of his numbers in comparison to the other guys, I don't think is the same. Okay. SGA, 31 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Again, we're talking about Jaylen Brown at 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Cade Cunningham, 25, 6, and 10. I think it's those two guys and everybody.
The overall, the team is a lot better.
But that's the thing too, man. Think about it. Yesterday, they won a game without SGA and without Jalen Williams playing yesterday. Right? So their best 2 players weren't even on the court yesterday, and they were still able to win the game fairly easy. I don't think we can say the same for Detroit, and I don't think we can say the same for Boston. Could they easily just win games without their best player on the court?
I don't believe so.
Right.
So let me see. Hold on 1 second. All right. Did you all see the big Duke-Michigan game? Big win for Duke, and now they #1 team in the country. I saw that one. And we needed that. Even though, I'm always mad if, when Duke loses to North Carolina, I'm always going to be upset about it. But I also do understand that those games are big rivalry games. The same way, in the NFL, we talk about Giants playing the Eagles or Eagles playing the Cowboys, where these teams are very familiar with each other. And they may not be 2 college teams that are more familiar with each other than Duke and North Carolina. Yeah. So I still take it on, the loss sucks. Obviously we don't ever want to lose, but this situation, this was a big win for Duke coming off of a loss like that. You go out, beat the #1 team, you become the #1 team in the country. I love what I'm seeing right now from Duke. I think we are right back in the mix of things. Obviously, I love my guy, Coach K. I miss Coach K, but eventually, once he stepped down, we gotta turn that thing around. And I think Duke right now, with Cam Boozer and those guys, I think they have what it takes to win a national championship.
I agree. They've been through the fires. They look good. They had the blowout win over Syracuse. Not saying much. I know Syracuse isn't that good, but I'm just want to give for reference. They blow out Syracuse, and then they have to play a neutral site game against Michigan here in D.C. Michigan ranked 3 at the time. They win that game. And for Cam Boozer, he's starting to have some signature moments where we're going to start hearing his name as Player of the Year now. I know there's a lot of talk about Darren Peterson out in Kansas, the kid from BYU, but Cam Boozer has had the highlight moments in bigger matchups this year. And that win coming off that, I think Duke is positioning themselves now. They kind of separate themselves, I think, from everybody else. It's going to be interesting because there's a lot of great teams. Arizona's really good as well. But the way Duke is playing, just to win that game on a neutral site, I thought made a statement to everybody else.
Yeah, gotta love it. Shout out to Squeezy. He says, "Can the Celtics go to the finals without Tatum?" Yes, I believe that they can. Again, we already came into this season knowing that this was going to be a weakened Eastern Conference because of the key injuries. Obviously, Jason Tatum was included in that in that conversation as well. But to see the way they have kind of rebuilt without taking away too much from this team and the pieces that they were able to obtain with Jaylen Brown playing at an MVP level, yeah, I think they definitely have a shot at making it to the finals. I don't think any team in the Eastern Conference is a situation where I'm like, nah, they don't got a chance in hell of beating this team. I think they can beat just about any team that's in the Eastern Conference and make it to a finals. Is it guaranteed? Obviously not. Nobody's guaranteed to make it. But again, I believe that this Boston Celtics team could beat any of the teams in a 7-game series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the East is wide open. I also think that experience matters. This team has been together for a few years, Trip. Same head coach, same staff, players. Again, you don't have Tatum, but Brown obviously was there when you went. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard was there. So you've got a lot of guys who have experience in playing long playoff runs and series. So I think they can do it. Matchups mean everything. Right now, as the number 2 seed, you would play a team coming out of the playing game. They would be favored to win that one. And then, is it Boston Knicks in the second round? Is it Boston and somebody else in the second round? Whoever you play, I think they got a legitimate shot. The key for me is going to be who's going to be their second guy. Because come playoff time, when a team can just kind of lock in on what you like to do and come up with the defensive game plan, your number 1 guy is going to struggle at times. And we've seen that from every team. Any team that's ever won a finals has had their best players struggle at times because the defensive focus has forced them into some uncomfortable situations.
Like that, yeah.
Right. So the Celtics are going to face that. The question is, when the competition gets better after the first round, no disrespect to anybody coming out of the playing game, but let's call it what it is. After the first round, when Jaylen Brown is seeing all of the double teams, can Peyton Pritchard still be a playmaker? Can Sam Hauser still knock down the 3-ball, right? Are they going to get those other aspects that they need to be able to win and free up Jaylen Brown? But other than that, I agree. I think anybody, you can make a case for any of the top 4 or 5 teams in the East and say this team could go on a run, and here's why.
Yeah. And that guy's going to have to be Derek White. The guy you were talking about, that
Right.
second guy,
Right.
It's got to be your Olympian, your all-defensive player, Derek White. He's going to have to step up. And he's been doing a great job. So it's not like, you know what I mean? But now it's one thing you guys go on the finals run when you have Brown and Tatum there, and you come in as the third guy, and it's like, oh yeah, that third guy is crazy. Now you got to step into that number 2 spot in the playoffs, and you're gonna have to level up. He's at about 17 right now, 17 and a half a game. In the playoffs, you're gonna have to get up to about 22 if y'all want to really win an NBA Finals, because there's gonna be times, like you said, where Jaylen Brown is gonna face those double teams.
Yeah.
Because teams are gonna feel like, well, if we just get him off the board, the rest of the guys we ain't got to worry about too tough. So
Right.
He's gonna have to step up and show why he was on the Olympic team.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right, the WNBA made enough money in 2025 to prompt revenue sharing to its players. For the first time, the league will give $8 million, and the union will give $9.25 million to each team. So it's a total of $17 million to disperse among the players. Listen, Eric and you, because we got the same mentality on this, we always for the players to get in the bag. So I don't, you know what I mean? Listen, if it's possible for the ladies to get more money, I want y'all to get more money. That's just how I feel about it. But you got to take it as it comes.
I wonder if Squeeze was using this as a reference point, because there has been a strong conversation that a strike could happen in the WNBA. They did make enough money, Squeeze, in 2025, really the last 2 years, and we know why. Let's not, we're not trying to give praise to one particular person, but the arrival of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese boosted the WNBA, the visibility and the notability of the league. It has done well, but we can't forget that they operated in the red for almost 20 years prior to this. And so there is going to be this back and forth of, yeah, there's enough to give the players this, but is that sustainable long term for the league? And is that something that now the league can continue to build on? That's what I want to see. I not only want to see the ladies get paid this year, I want to see them come up with an actual game plan where the ladies keep getting paid, right? The way the CBA is structured in the NBA, you see player salaries go up every year. The profit share might stay the same at 51% compared to 49%. But look at the way the salaries increased every year. And every time there's a CBA, there's always more money for the players. That's what we need to see on the WNBA side. We need to see a sustained increase in salaries so that the women don't ever have to consider going overseas or even think about a league like Unrivaled.
Yeah. Again, I was about to say, because Unrivaled is definitely
putting pressure. Right. They putting pressure on.
The other day, shout out to Angel Reese. I was watching footage earlier today. She looked like she was locking in, like she'd been in the gym. So shout out to the ladies, man. Oh, shout out to Nikki Avery. She's over in Australia right now, doing some basketball stuff. I just wanted to, since we was talking about the ladies, she popped up on my timeline earlier. So I just want to say shout out to Nikki Avery. Let me go to Pooh's comment. Shout out to Pooh Bear. She says, did you all see the LeBron James comments on Jaylen Brown? My question is, because it's Bron's son, no one can say he isn't an NBA player game-wise. No, you can say what you want, but I mean, if I'm LeBron as a parent, yeah, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way. You talk about my kid, you know what I'm saying? I might feel the way too. So I can't be mad at him for that.
Trip, I expect you to say that. We know the affiliation with Bron. Shout out to Pooh. But Jay Brown didn't say anything disrespectful. He gave his opinion on Bronny in the Summer League and was like, he probably shouldn't be in the league yet. And I think a lot of players do that. Like, you telling me Bron ain't never seen a guy in game and was like, nah, this dude probably shouldn't be in the league right now, or he shouldn't be getting no playing time.
But so Jaylen Brown's son?
It don't matter. It's somebody's son. Just because it ain't Jaylen Brown's son, it's somebody's son. You when Bron is throwing teammates under the bus, that's somebody's son, right? That's somebody's baby out there. So Bron, no, it ain't different, man. It ain't different. But I didn't think Bron took it too personal. It didn't seem like he was upset. Like he said, there's always respect, except when he made the comment about Bronny. Like it was his way to jab back at Jaylen Brown. But I don't think it ain't no real beef. Like they're not gonna see each other outside of Staples and that like that.
Nah, not at all. He ain't gonna run down on him like Melo ran down on KG and them.
Yeah. Nah. You're not catching him in the tunnel, none of that.
Oh man, let me go to this next question. Shout out to Deontay. This is LeBron James, most likely last season with the Lakers. I think he deserves his number raised. That's it. He not based on Lakers time, one of the best ever in purple and gold. I feel like they will retire his jersey. Obviously you can't rank LeBron with other Lakers great. He just didn't spend enough time in LA. So he's not gonna surpass Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Worthy, you know what I mean? Jerry West. He's not gonna surpass any of those guys unless miraculously he wins 3 more championships. Obviously that's not gonna happen, right? But as far as what he did accomplish in LA and being in LA, which, you know, he did bring a title to LA. He did, you know, get the all-time scoring record from another Lakers legend in LA. So I'm not mad if the Lakers retire LeBron's jersey.
I think the Lakers will retire his jersey because, as you mentioned, he won a championship there and he became the all-time leading scorer while being a Laker. So there will be some sort of recognition for him. Shout out to Dante. I don't think that this is Bron's last year, though. First and foremost, we got to remember what we're talking about. LeBron wants a farewell tour. He wants everyone to know that he's going to be retiring, right? So he's not leaving just yet. Secondly, there was a report that recently came out that kind of flew under the radar. And it wasn't a big deal until I started to think about, all right, what does this mean then? The Lakers have already said that they're increasing ticket prices next year by almost 40%, right? Now, that to me, it's not a new arena, right? There isn't anything new coming to the arena to make you think, why would you increase ticket prices so much? The only thing that you're bringing there is that you're guaranteeing us 41 games of possibly LeBron James.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they're doing that leads me to believe that Braun is probably coming back next year, maybe on a lesser salary because he is a free agent. But I don't think this is Braun's last year. He wants the farewell tour. He wants everybody to know this is my last time in this arena. It'll be interesting to see how LeBron handles his playing time next year in terms of load management. Because again, especially on those East Coast cities, that's going to be his last time in those cities.
Yeah, and I definitely want to be at the Barclays Center.
He might skip the Barclays. I'm not gonna lie to you. Barclays, he might be like, I'm good. Y'all can see me at the Garden.
He gonna do it. He gonna do it because remember Wade had his last game at the Barclays Center, so you gotta.
This is different though.
Don't do that. Stop. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Let's keep it a buck. Ain't nobody on that.
Once I make the call, he gonna be at the Barclays Center.
You might have to make the call because they ain't nobody on that Nets team that he want to share the court with and hug it out with to end the game.
Well, we don't know who they're gonna have next season. They might have somebody next season. Come on, man. All right, we go to the Barclays Center. I'm gonna see my main man LeBron James.
He'll do his final game at the Garden. I don't know if he's gonna do his final game at Barclays though. That might be the night to sit out.
We go see. All right. Shout out to Hoop Central. He says Mayweather Pacquiao 2 in September in Vegas. Thoughts? Don't want to see either one of these old ass mofos get back in the ring. I'm sorry. I don't want to see this fight again. Now we already saw it, and we saw it, when both guys were older, and now they're what we 10 years removed from that fight. How long has it been? So you telling me that y'all said that they was both too old to be fighting when they fought? Y'all wanted it earlier than that, but now I'm supposed to get excited because they're gonna fight 10 years later than the fight that y'all said they was already too old and they should have fought when they was younger. I don't care. I'm not interested. This is another cash grab, and
that's all this is.
Yeah,
that's all this is. This is a cash grab. There is no intrigue in this fight. Other than nostalgia for people who might be a fan of Mayweather or a fan of Pacquiao. But this is nothing more than a money grab. Pacquiao's been begging for this fight for damn near 10 years now for that same reason, because he understands the amount of money that would be up for this and what it would mean for him. I think Mayweather's kind of making his rounds on securing more bags. That's all this is. So I'm not interested in the fight. I don't even know who will be interested in this fight. I don't know what network is going to want this fight, to be honest, because there's nothing that comes from this.
Yeah,
it isn't like, oh, if these guys fight now, it's because it's setting up something bigger long term. This is truly just a cash grab. That's all it is. And neither one of these guys is going to take any chances in the fight because it don't mean nothing. It's like, why would I put my health at risk for
my legacy at risk?
I don't even think legacy matters, because even if whoever wins, what does it matter at this point?
Nothing.
Like if Floyd wins, does it mean anything for Floyd? If Pacquiao wins, what does it mean for Pacquiao?
He got his look back against Floyd. That's about it. But it's also 10 years removed, and Mayweather hasn't fought in an actual boxing match in how long? So that's
what I'm saying. There's nothing. It's other than cash grab. That's it.
I'm not really interested in it. If it's on, I'll probably watch it, but I could care less, to be honest with you, Eric. Let me go to Lonnie's question. I love this one as well. When y'all getting Miss Valerie still back so we can finish up? Don't worry, we got y'all. I already spoke to Valerie. She's gonna come back on next month, which is Women's History Month, and she is part of history. So she'll be back on next month. We just got to figure out which date next month, but she'll be back next month. I already spoke to her. She's excited to come back and finish. I know we didn't get to all the questions, and I apologize about that, but she will be back. So do not worry. I know you guys. Shout out to Imani and her pops. I know y'all got a whole lot of ABL questions and things like that we didn't get to, but again, I've already spoken to Valerie. She's excited about coming back on program. She was excited about being on the program in the first place. And, so she will be back and we'll get to finish that. All right, guys. So do not worry. Next month, she'll be back. Just got to get a date. I'm going to try to do it for the beginning of the month. But again, we'll coincide with Valerie and we'll go from there. Let me save this. I'm going to save Imani's question for the end because she got a 50 Cent and T.I. question. Hoop type said, yeah, get Mr. back wrestling. I got y'all. Don't worry. Hoop Central says I talked to Miss Tina Hutchinson and she said she had a great convo with Cheryl Miller. Finally, I know it don't make her life, but I felt she just wanted to before they leave this earth, just chop it up. And she told me it was amazing. Great to hear. Yes, absolutely. She and I spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. How good it felt to just get on the call and them chop it up and just kind of clear the air, which was nothing really too clear, but when you got outside forces on both sides and you're not actually directly speaking to a person, things can get misconstrued. But I am glad that she was able to have that moment, and whatever comes from that comes from that.
Absolutely. Shout out to both of them. Shout out to Miss Tina Hutchinson. I'm glad they were able to have that conversation.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Kyrie. He says Kevin Durant says he will play in the 2028 USA team. He don't want to retire. Do it, but he is the best USA national team resume ever. I mean, who am I to tell Kevin Durant no if you want to go play on the USA
Right.
team? Because clearly USA needed the guys to come. They needed the seasoned vets. They needed LeBron. They needed KD. They needed Steph for this journey. So if Kevin Durant want to come back, and that's our guy, that's the he's number one. I probably say Melo is number two. Why the heck not? Yeah, I'm all for that. As long as he's healthy and can actually get out there, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, shout out to him. I mean, if he's able to, like I said, be healthy, then go ahead and play. I'm not mad about it either. But I mean, time will tell. We're still 2 years away. It'll be interesting to see if he commits this summer to working out with that team, because this is around the time where they start putting the team together and summer workouts at the Olympic facility. So we'll see if he's willing to commit to that aspect of it. But if he's there, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Not at all. Let me go to Hoop Central's question. He says, can Juju Watkins take the WNBA to another level, being her popularity looks in WNBA type game? Shout out to Juju. She's definitely a beautiful woman. Juju has to play first.
Yeah.
Before she can be that for the WNBA, because the injury that she sustained, the amount of time she's out for, people are going to want to see her dominate the way she was dominating before the injury first. Now, if she comes back and she's the same Juju that we all have come to know and love, then absolutely she will level up the WNBA one more time. There's a couple of girls right now in the college that are going to help level the WNBA up one more time, but definitely Juju. But again, she does have to come back and show that she is the same Juju that we saw, the Juju that broke our good friend Tina Hutchinson's record for points scored in the season as a freshman. If we get that Juju back, then absolutely she will level up the WNBA again.
Juju has the potential to do all those things, Hoop Central. Will she do it is another story. Now, we're not going to act like Juju is the first, a woman player to come in and is like physically appealing on the eyes. There have been plenty before. The problem is, like I said, if the game doesn't match that, if you're not able to play at a high level for multiple seasons, then that fades very quickly, because there's a lot of beautiful women out there on the court that she won't be the only one. So is the potential there? Yeah. Will it happen? Only time will tell. Like you said, right now, I do fear that the injury and the time away from the court is kind of dimming her star a little bit, because she was probably the most popular player at the time after her freshman year. And now, because she hasn't played in a little bit, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind type. So we'll see what happens.
Eric Dion Hoops page wants to know if I am Clutch Sports.
I don't know if your contract allows you to speak on that.
I can neither confirm nor deny that information. Shout out to my good brother Dion Hoops page, but I can neither confirm nor deny that information. I'm gonna move on to the next comments. Braun does not deserve a statue. Trip, how many times has he missed the playoffs and first round exits? If I'm Lakers, let's go. Let him go. We don't need a world tour. Do it in Cleveland. Well, who said anything about a statue? We were just talking
Yeah, I
about having the
remember
jersey raised.
Yeah, the question was never about a statue.
Yeah. But I'm sure he'll have a statue somewhere, but I wouldn't say for LA, but yeah, he definitely deserves to have his jersey retired in the Raptors. So
Yeah, he doesn't deserve a statue. Now, from a personal level, I agree with you, Dion. If I'm the Lakers, I'm moving on and I'm just trying to build around Luka. But there's a new ownership group that's in there now. And keep in mind, new ownership group, they're always trying to make sure they're turning a profit. They want to be exciting. They want to be on TV. They want to have as many opportunities to be showcased. So from that standpoint, they may be intrigued to bring them back for 1 year to do the farewell tour in purple and gold.
yeah, because why would you let some other team reap the benefits of that?
Right.
If you're the Lakers and he's already there, obviously, if they give him a contract, he'll come back. But if I'm the Lakers, I want to sell out every one of my home games because people are going to want to come thinking this is their last chance to get to see LeBron James. I'm not letting some other team get 42 games of that. No, yeah. I'm going to get that money. You go to Kyrie. Kyrie says, but let's keep it a buck. Aren't y'all ready for him to leave? Trip, you got Bron pajamas. Honestly, I'm not ready for him to leave. Like if LeBron was actually, like if I feel like he could play another 5 years, I wouldn't mind LeBron playing another 5 years. But and I say that because I've been through players that I've watched their careers from start to finish, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had a couple more games with AI playing, basketball. I wish I had a couple of more games where I could see C-Web play, or there's a couple of guys where I'm like, damn, once their careers is over, Scotty, Pippen, I would have liked to see a couple more games. But when it's your time, man. You can't, listen, you can't take nothing away from LeBron James. There's only one guy that you could even say is ahead of him. So anything that you could think about wanting to do in the sport of basketball, LeBron James has done it. And, he's had, one of the best careers that you could ever have as an NBA player, both on the court and off the court. So it is what it is.
Listen, LeBron has had a great career, but enough is enough. And I'm ready to move on from LeBron. All right. When you mention those other names, those are guys whose careers stopped at like 13, 14, 15 years. And we wish oh man, it would have been nice to get one more prime season. We're at year 21 of LeBron. It's LeBron fatigue.
That was sad when Kareem left, even though he played 20 years. Because I know a lot of cats.
There was nonstop coverage of Kareem either for 21 years. We're at a point where it's like, all right, come on, bro, let's move on.
Bro, we just that's the era that we in.
Bro, let's move on. The fact that we had to.
If LeBron averaging 25, 9, and 8, would you be like, let's get up out of here?
Yeah, because he forced his son into the league, and now we got to have conversations about his son. If he didn't force his son into the league,
we only have to because people are going to bring it up in the comments. We don't have to talk about his son.
I mean, it's becomes when the draft came around, we had to keep talking about his son. I'm ready to move on, bro. Pack it up, bro. Come on, man.
I told you. Yeah, she'll be back next month, guys. All right. Okay. Shout out to Will. Will says boxing is dead and has been dead. This fight is more interesting than anything that didn't have a YouTuber on the card. Netflix is it. I don't know which is he talking about. Was he talking about the Clarissa Shields fight?
No, he's talking about the Floyd Manning fight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Boxing. There's no way you can say boxing has been dead with the numbers that they've been doing, and we're not just talking the Jake Paul aspect of it because Canelo and Crawford did over 100 million views. The not Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson Teofimo fight did views. The Ryan Garcia Barrios fight did views. So in terms of do they have like a one star? No, this isn't the days of like when Floyd was the face and everybody tuned in every May and every September. But in terms of quality fighters, yeah, there's a lot of great fighters still out there. There's no way you can say boxing is dead when even the mid-tier guys are guaranteeing 20 million a fight.
Yeah,
the numbers is there, and there's a reason why Netflix is backing a lot of these fights because they know there's a lot of money in boxing. So boxing is far from dead. The crazy part is people have been saying boxing been dead for 20 years, and yet people still watching the fights.
Mm-hmm. And there's a potential fight that we might get later this year that I'm very excited about, and that's the Ryan Garcia Shakur Stevenson fight. I would love to see.
Yeah, there's still way too many good fighters. Well, the boxing is dead. Yeah,
I don't know who wins that fight if they go at it. I don't know who wins that. I think either one of those guys could win that fight.
I would go Shakur. The great equalizer is Ryan's speed. Ryan has enough speed to put pressure on you, but Shakur's not going to stand there flat-footed the way Mario Barrios did. Let's keep it above.
He's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna have to outsmart and outbox Shakur Stevenson. So if you're telling me that, then because to me, Teofimo's a better fighter than Ryan Garcia, and Teofimo couldn't even crack the code. So I don't, unless Ryan lands something very early in the fight that changes the course of the fight. Shakur could outbox him all day.
Let me go to Janetta. Shout out to Janetta Johnson. She had hit me up as well to check out about Valerie still. So big shout out to her. KD said, F having a family, he in love with hoops. Listen, everybody don't want kids. Everybody don't want to get married. I can't be mad at him for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
There's all the distraction tactic from KD too, because he hasn't really addressed the burner account. So he just came out and said, I'll be in the Olympics 2028. Let's talk about that instead. But he don't want to talk about the burner account, really.
No, I don't think so. Oh my goodness, Chip, you sound like a lover talking about I'm not ready to see him go. Look on that. Oh, I love y'all, man. Hoop Central's posters. Oh yeah. I'll say that. We go back. Let me take Imani's question now. Let me pull that question up because I want to say this last. I knew he was going to be talking about this for a little while.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. Imani says, yo, this T.I. and 50 Cent ish is getting messy. Didn't Tip put a diss track out and Tip's son got in it? I don't think the diss track was at 50. I think that was already a song that he had.
No, he put out the track today. I sent it to you on IG. I sent out the clip.
Oh, this is another one. Okay, I gotta go back.
Yeah, the artwork is a picture of Ray Charles with women around him. That's the artwork on it.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm all for that. If they going that route with it, that's what I want to see. I'm not. And again, I said this with the whole Fab and Jim when they put out the diss track towards 50 Cent when they was going back and forth. I said back then, I don't want to see you trolling cats and they're dropping diss tracks on you. You don't want that doesn't give you the W, bro. No, I don't care about that. Now you got to rap. Now this is somebody else that who now T.I. done been in some rap beats before, and T.I. is a lyrical southerner. So yes, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to see the back and forth. I don't want to see you trolling on the internet. I didn't like the post, you know what I'm saying, posting up Tiny and all of that. I think that's corny. Why you bringing in people's families? Like I don't care. You can call T.I. rat all day. You can say whatever you want about T.I., but now you're taking it too far when you're bringing in people's families. That's why I didn't have a problem with King saying what he said. Yet was it disrespectful? Yes, it was very disrespectful. But you talk about my mama.
The 50 was disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the best way to avoid that is keep the family out of it. Say whatever you want about T.I. T.I. can say whatever. I mean, T.I. ain't saying nothing about 50 Cent family or nothing like that. But y'all want to get at each other, that is fine. Y'all want to throw diss tracks. If y'all want to get in the ring and have a celebrity boxing match with each other, I'm okay with all of that. Just leave the family members and kids and all that stuff out of
it. First of all, I just heard the clip of the song. It sounds solid. T.I. put out maybe 20 to 30 seconds of a verse. It sounds good. I got to see what the rest of the joint sound like. T.I. was super corny in the way he approached this whole situation. I'm sorry, 50. Sorry, 50 was corny in the way he approached this whole situation because for years, T.I. has purely said about doing a versus with 50, right? And it was a question that was asked of him because this was around the time after COVID when everybody said, "Oh, who would you do a verse with?" And he said, "I would love to do a verses with 50," because at the time everybody was trying to kind of pigeonhole T.I. into doing a verses with someone from the South, and he was like, "Nah, I want to go for a big fish. I want to go with 50." Then he gave clarity to that on $1 Million Worth of Game, where he said the reason he said I wasn't calling out 50. The reason I said 50 name was because 50 and I had actually spoke, and we had talked about behind the scenes, like, "Yo, we should do it. Like, let's do it." And like he said, "I'll jump out there first and get people talking about it, and then you follow up, and then we'll set the date." And then 50 started treating it as if like T.I. was reaching for a situation that he wasn't ready for. And so that's why, like T.I. said, like, all this other gimmicky shit and the memes and all that was corny, because we talked about this, and this was something that you and I had kind of agreed to. And then because if you ain't want to rap, just say you ain't want to rap.
Yeah.
But don't make it seem, you putting out memes about the court situation with his friend dying, with Phil dying, obviously now talking about Tiny, which is very unnecessary. Yeah. We come from an era, Trip, women and kids, that's not allowed, bro. You don't go that route. And 50 know that. And so 50 is super corny for the shit. 50 cannot out rap T.I. Let's keep it a buck. Will and I talked about this. It wasn't last week, but it was the week prior when we talked about it. They did the verses. I said if they did a verses, T.I. would beat them. Because even though I think In the Club is the biggest song either one of them has, the catalog is much stronger on T.I.'s side than it is 50. I don't think 50 can go 20 songs with T.I. because he just doesn't have the versatility that T.I. has. Exactly. He doesn't. He cannot rap with T.I.
That's what I'm saying. And in the verses, it's just as much about the songs as it is about the energy that you bring to that.
He cannot rap with T.I., bro. And I said it before, and I'm saying this as a New Yorker. He cannot rap with T.I. Does he got the bigger song and In the Club? Yeah, when he played In the Club in the verses, yeah, people will go crazy. Outside of that, I think T.I.'s catalog is really, really strong for 20 plus songs. So 50 not gonna rap because, like you said, 50 didn't respond to Fab yet. Nope. He ain't gonna respond to T.I. And if you're gonna keep it,
I don't want to hear it. No,
that's what I was about to say.
No, I ain't trying to.
It's gonna be trolls and memes. That's all it's gonna be. And let's keep it a buck. Outside of 50 beating Ja and their beef, 50 ain't won no other hip hop beef. Because I don't think 50 beat Ross in beef. 50, he made that challenge to Kanye.
He didn't even beat that. No.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't beat nobody else that he beat with in hip hop. He got Ja Rule, and it was the perfect time when he got Ja Rule because again, it was cemented with the In the Club song, right?
Yeah. And see, it was the perfect storm.
Absolutely.
Because they're going through the whole thing with the Fed case, so they really can't. Their hands are a little bit tied. It's not too much they can say and do in that moment. So it was kind of like the perfect storm for him to kind of get Ja up out of here. But if against anybody else, remember, this is the same 50 Cent that thought he was going big bro Kanye, call Kanye out, set the challenge, whose album is going to sell more. What happened? He took a loss. Kanye smoked him in that one. So yeah, now and it's getting, I'm tired of the trolling. That like at some point it's like, bro, you gotta do something else. Like you're a rapper. Like you gotta rap at some point. You up here trolling everybody. You coming at Jay-Z, and then the facts come out. You look stupid. Okay, whatever you did, what you did with the whole Puff thing, the documentary. You know what I'm saying? You want to do that? That's cool. But don't act like you don't got some things going on in your world where somebody couldn't put a documentary out about you.
That's a fact. And if you look, T.I.'s son King actually put out a post today when 50 was in court for beating up 3 women. And he said it
himself. Honest, this is why because 50 had made a post maybe like 2 weeks ago about Jay, and it was about the song Young Girl, right? Mm-hmm. And Jay-Z clearly says in the song that the girl was 19 years old. So even for you to try to troll with that is like, bro, 19 years old is an adult, bro. Like let's stop. We're not even gonna play that game. But you yourself have a song where the words came out of your own mouth where you talk about beating up your child's mother.
Yep.
You yourself said that in a song. So it's just like, bro, like, come on, like, just stop the trolling. If you're gonna rap. But you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear all this. I don't want to hear no more about you, Yayo eating duck in Morocco. None of that. Y'all got to rap now. You are rappers. Rap. Put out a track. Do something.
He can't though. That's the thing. He can't.
You done got bombed on now by T.I. You got to rap, bro. It is what it is.
He can. And I was thinking about this. I knew the question was going to come up. I knew we was going to talk about it either tonight or Wednesday.
Mhm.
Even I had to think back, like I said, because I'm like, yo, he didn't, right? Like you said, he didn't, he couldn't really fuck with Jada. We know that,
No.
right? He had no response for Fat Joe because he couldn't take it there in the street with Fat Joe. And don't get it twisted. No matter how y'all feel about Fat Joe,
They're just as big in New York in the
right?
streets.
He could not do nothing with Fat Joe in the streets. So all that tough talk he had for Ja, he could never approach Fat Joe that way.
No.
He know that. He know that. That's why, listen, let's keep it a buck. No matter how y'all feel about the Cap and Jada and I mean Cap and Joe and what he says on the Joe and Jada show, there's a reason why 50, the only one that he's passed up a beef with and he will sit publicly with is Fat Joe. You see him sit courtside with Fat Joe. They all the time they say he quick to hug him and all that because that's the one dude that he could not on some street shit. He could not go there with Fat Joe. So don't get it twisted. No matter how y'all feel about the stories and all that, you guys, anybody that's from New York, they would tell you it would not go down like that with Fat Joe.
Listen, all right. Well, I'm at right now. I ain't too far from Trinity Ave. Okay.
It would
Now,
not, I'm telling you.
you ain't gonna disrespect Fat Joe. And on top of that, shout out to the big homie Gene Deal. Because Gene Deal told me, he said Fat Joe was the realest in hip hop.
It would not. That's what I'm trying to tell. I tell cats all the time. It sounds funny on the show, and don't get me wrong. Is he a great storyteller? Absolutely. A lot of it sounds exaggerated. But anybody who was in New York around that time will tell you, in the streets, there is nobody that can say they got one up on Fat Joe. Fat Joe been in the game damn near 30 years. You have never heard one story about him getting undressed or embarrassed in the street. Never.
Except that time when he said Roy pressed him. But he even said that.
But he even said, he said I had to settle it down, champ, chill, champ, take it easy, right? But that's different though. You talk about one of the greatest boxers of all time. Yeah, he don't want that problem, of course.
Yeah. And Joe,
any other situation. But I say all that to say this, right, Trip? You think about all them beefs, hip hop beefs and battles. I can't think of one song or verse that 50 ever put out in any of those that's memorable. He got nothing. He got nothing memorable against Jada, against Joe. He don't got nothing memorable against Ross.
Yeah, I don't think there was. Nah,
he don't have nothing memorable.
When he put out Fat Joe, what was it? Was it Elephant
in the Sand?
In the Sand, yo, he was bombing on 50 on that album, boy.
Yeah.
I remember me and my bro, shout out to my bro Gav, we was driving to Stony Brook from LIU. And we got that Fat Joe album and we just listened to track by track. It's like, yo, there's no skips on this album, and he is bombing on 50. And I'm just like, yo, y'all better, you leave Joey Crack alone because he gonna have his big pun reincarnated or something right now because he's bombing on 50. And yeah, I don't think there was nothing major that stood out. Yeah, now the Ja Rule stuff, yeah, we know.
Right.
But from those battles, no.
And the Ja thing too, I always say it was the perfect timing because where hip hop was at that time, because hip hop was very melodic, Ja was the top guy on the charts, Puff was controlling the charts. 50 was the complete opposite, the bulletproof vest, and he had the street credibility to back it up, right? He had been shot, he had been stabbed. Like you have real street dudes who was like, nah, 50 had been bubbling. Because us from New York, we knew the backstory. We knew he had been with Jam Master Jay for a while, right? We knew he had been with Black Hand for a while. So we knew he was real in the streets. Mm-hmm. So it was the perfect contrast to what was going on in the music. Right, rest in peace to Chaz. But we knew he had the real credibility to go with what he was saying.
Yeah.
But everybody else he's beef with, he can't beat them.
Yeah.
He can't beat them.
I'm gonna give you one line before I read Will's question. I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
Oh, Jay hit him with one of these. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. He little boyed him. You know how when you be on the court and you post up somebody that's a little guy and you hit him with one of these? That's what he did to 50. Will says, I love that Tip is keeping it hip hop right now. 50 is super petty, but he wants no spoke lyrically on diss tracks for anybody he beats with. Yeah, that was it. Like you was able to get Job out of there. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Granted, but y'all also had a deep history. So there was a lot there. You know what I mean? But now when you going up against these other cats, yeah, you wasn't just running through beefs like that. Nah, because lyrically, you can't mess with Jada. I'm sorry, but you ain't.
He can't mess with T.I. He can't mess with Fab.
That's what I'm saying. So and you see, he ain't say nothing back. And Fab got filthy. Fab had the black gloves on. That was straight gutter. Fort Greene, Albany Projects, Brooklyn. That was one of them type diss tracks. And you did not say anything. You up here posting about the building and all this. Nobody care about that, bro. Whatever. We care about the bars. You rapping. And you ain't say nothing. Now I'm gonna see if you're gonna say something to T.I. But if you say something to T.I., you better be prepared because that brother gonna come right back at you. And I don't think you really want that smoke. Shout out to Hoop Central. He says, do y'all feel 50 will make a diss track back, or 50 is not taking all this serious? He needs to be taking it serious, but I just don't think I think his diss track is just going to be trolling. That's it. I don't think he will. I think he's just going to keep trolling, and that's corny though. And this is me saying that, because I mess with 50 because I will always appreciate him posting Raw Deal the Last Big Night on his Instagram. When we first was dropping the pieces, because he sparked a lot in helping us get the ball rolling by him doing that. So I always got enough respect for 50 for doing that. But we got to call a spade a spade. This is rap. We want to see you rap. Listen, you put that track out, do something, say something to somebody that's bombing on you. I don't want to see you keep trolling. It's not working.
50 is not gonna. I don't expect him to respond. One, because he knows unless he got a song that's so crazy that could just shift everything in the beef, he not gonna respond. He not, because 50 lyrically can't mess with T.I. So what are you gonna do? You can't bully him.
Banks to write something.
Well, I think that's another reason why 50 don't be responding, because he don't. And this goes back to what I said. If you listen back to the best songs that 50 had put out in response to Raws, were G Unit songs. When they had that song Rider, which is the beat that Fab writes on, is with Banks on there, because Banks is the lyrical assassin of the group. So if Banks goes on there, it changes the whole complexion of the beef now, because Banks lyrically is better than 99% of dudes in the game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But without Banks, 50 ain't got no lyrical. He ain't got no lyricism that can hang with T.I. Mm-hmm. He gonna turn this into a popularity contest. T.I. got more followers. 50 got more followers.
Yeah,
and so he's gonna keep trolling.
He got the power.
That's what I'm saying. He gonna keep trolling. He gonna keep posting memes. He gonna keep it on the internet, because the internet is a popularity contest. Exactly. And as long as he keeps doing that in his world, he gonna feel like I'm winning, because I could just keep cracking jokes on you.
Who Central says, what's 50 and Jay's beef about?
Jay-Z.
Yeah, they don't have a beef. I think honestly,
that was from How to Rob. 50 had put out that track How to Rob, and he names every big name in the industry. And then that's when Jay comes back and says, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
But they ain't got no issues like that.
Yeah, no issues and nothing like that.
To me, it kind of feels like a little bit of envy of where Jay-Z is musically and outside of music, who he is, being the first billionaire in hip-hop, being recognized as the GOAT. I feel like there's a little bit of envy, because it's not like Jay don't care about 50. Like you when was the last time, like, you know what I mean? Like Jay doing so much out here, he don't care about 50. He's not even in music like that to even, you know what I'm saying, really even care. So I just think it's like, yo, like, you just mad because, you know what I'm saying, he's that guy and you're not. Because if you look at the trajectory of 50's music, it's like, yeah, you started here and then it just, the album started going down. Like, Get Rich or Die Trying is a classic album, but after that, yeah, he still has good albums. I thought The Massacre was okay. There's definitely, you know what I'm saying, good albums, but it's still, he ain't ever reached that Get Rich or Die Trying again. Everything was kind of on the downstick.
I mean, you can also attribute that to the fact that, again, the momentum was so strong with him going at Ja and then being a part of Aftermath, right? Because Dre produced the whole first album.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have crazy momentum, but there ain't no beef because Jay has always been above 50. Even when 50 was going diamond and selling 7 million records, there was nobody that was picking 50 over Jay-Z as an artist. So there is no real beef. And I do agree with you, Trip. I think there's a little bit of jealousy there and there's a little bit of envy there from 50 perspective, because 50 tries hard to get the approval. That's why 50 trolls so much on social media. No matter how you look at it, a lot of that is rooted in approval. A lot of that is rooted in, I want you to view me in a light that's flattering. Because 50 does big business. 50 don't need to be on the internet trolling. The cats who's on the internet trolling, they want your approval. They want your acceptance.
Yeah, bro. You got one of the biggest TV universes with the Powerverse. You know, why you up here posting pictures about Tiny? Come on, man, you better than that, bro. Like, just if you ain't gonna rap, then just let it go, bro. Kyrie says 50 and Fat Joe close friends now. Yeah, they're cool because it wasn't ever no beef with them.
Right. And like I said, when 50 tried that bully shit, and Fat Joe had to remind him, like, bro, it will never go that way with me. Remember, there's that famous clip. There's that famous clip when they at the award show together, and Fat Joe goes up there and he goes, I want to thank 50 Cent for bringing so many police in here tonight. I feel so protected tonight. 50 couldn't do nothing with that because he already knew, like, yo, this a crazy motherfucker right here.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. And that's not to say, you know what I'm saying, 50 ain't tough or nothing like that. But if I'm gonna go to war, it's easier to go to war when I could just bully you out the way. Right. When I can't just bully you out the way, it get different. You know what I'm saying? And you willing to just risk cats' lives and livelihoods for what? For something that don't even got nothing to do with Fat Joe, because J.O. even said they rock with Fat Joe music. But prior to that, it was literally just the fact
that they was on the track with.
That was it. And that was one of the hardest records at that time. That record right there. But I remember driving to Hampton Homecoming, me and Ray Sean. As soon as we pulled into Hampton, we just rolled all the windows down, started playing that New York record, driving through the campus mad slow. Just like it was a moment in hip hop history with that record. But that's where that whole issue stemmed from. So it wasn't really an issue, you know what I'm saying? But you know, so yeah, it's easier for them to be cool now. They never had like with him and Ja had that history of anything. That was literally just you got on the record with somebody that we got beef with, so now you got beef with us too. And then he realized we kind of, you know, streets kind of even there.
Right. I can't. Right. As I'm saying, it's different that Fat Joe's respecting the street. Fat Joe's respecting the street was maybe even bigger than 50 at the time. So that's saying you couldn't pull that move that you pulled on Ja.
Sure, it might have been, because if you think about it, at the end of the day, you know, Fat Joe didn't have no beefs in the Bronx like 50 had beefs in Queens with some of the biggest street dudes in the history of New York City. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, Preem and all of those dudes. Fat Joe didn't have that, but, you know, he was just respected, you know what I'm saying, in the street. So
he was respected in the streets too, because Fat Joe had put in a lot of work. When Fat Joe came up with digging in the crates and all that, and there's been other people who've talked about this, Fat Joe was really moving around through the city. Like, Fat Joe was heavy in the dope game and was trying to transition to music. So cats knew who Fat Joe was. He had already done his dirt. He had put in his work. So there was a lot of cats who knew who he was. 50's situation was different, obviously, because 50's is tied to the whole Murder Inc. and was the Supreme Team involved in trying to get him killed. So story-wise, his story sounds way better than Fat Joe's. But in terms of connections in the streets, this cat's, Jim and Cam even talked about the first cat they seen in a Benz and all that was Fat Joe. You know what I'm saying? A cat who wasn't even a platinum artist and that was rolling through the hood already because he was getting street money. So there was a lot of cats who knew Fat Joe and a lot of cats who respected Fat Joe on the street level because of what he had already been doing prior to the music.
Exactly. So shout out to Fat Joe. And I always show Fat Joe love because, you know, there's a couple of times where I met Fat Joe and there's always been love. I love to tell the story, you know, us being outside of the TV station, me, Sean, and Leanne. And Fat Joe just pulls up and he could go to the corner. He could drive to the corner because it's a red light. He literally stops right in front of us, just outside the TV station, and starts a conversation with us on some asking us, how we doing and whatnot. We having a whole little conversation with Fat Joe. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was just a dope experience. Plus, he'd be at Melba's. You know what I mean? So and once Gene, if Gene put the stamp on somebody, and you know what I'm saying, and say, yeah, that's the realest in hip hop, then I'm gonna respect it, because I respect Gene, and he knows been around a lot. So if he's saying that about somebody, then I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna respect that. Let's take this last comment from Will, and we're gonna get to the final thoughts segment. I knew this topic was gonna take us through the end of the show. I knew it because we had about 20 minutes. I knew it was gonna take up that whole time. Will says Fat Joe would smoke 50 in the verses too. I saw Joe perform last summer at the Tacos and Tequila Fest in Cleveland. I forgot how many bangers Joe got up his sleeve. Yeah, Joe got records, and the thing about Joe is he's still putting out big records. Like up until, like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta love it. Shout out to Fat Joe, everything they got going on, Joe and Jada podcast. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they all New York, and I want everybody from New York to shine. But you know what I'm saying, just do it the right way, man. If you're gonna rap, cut all the trolls out. I'm saying, like, bring in people's families and things like that. That's corny. Like I don't like things like that. And I don't want to. I'm not gonna just say, because it's 50 and we know that that's what he does. He even posted about Irv after Irv died. I don't care. If it's corny, it's corny to me.
Yeah, rap. Like I said, rap. You gotta rap.
Give us a final thought, Eric.
Shout out to the supporters as always. Appreciate y'all. Had the comment section rocking tonight. Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. We back. We'll drop the topic. We'll let y'all know. See what's going on. What else we got? If you're on the East Coast, I know we got hit with another blizzard, man. Be safe out there.
Boy,
Winter ain't letting up yet. She not letting up yet, man. So just be careful out there.
Oh, man, and we got, my driveway over here is. So I was outside shoveling. It seemed like forever, and I had to tell myself. I said, man, you didn't put in more than 20 years on this side shoveling snow. You have to retire. You're getting too old for this. For this old man. But man,
I'm not even gonna lie, bro. This storm wasn't that bad, but that one we had before, after I shoveled, I had to come in and take a nap, bro. We're
not done. We gonna get snow.
I know y'all still in the middle of it. The snow hit us hard yesterday, and then this morning when I went out, it was fairly cool because it was a little warm outside. It was like 41 outside, so the snow was melting on its own while I was shoveling. But the last storm we got, remember I told you that knocked out with our internet.
Yeah.
I was outside shoveling for like 4 hours, and then I had to take a nap, man.
That's why I was there. Shout out to Imani, because Imani, she had hit me up earlier today to see if we was doing the show today. So I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to be, in case something happens, unless the power goes out or something like that. Because we got a lot of snow today. We're gonna have the day off tomorrow, but then Wednesday and Thursday it's gonna snow again, and it's supposed to snow again next week. So New York is not done being hit by this blizzard. Mandani, shout out to Mandani. He had to shut down the travel. He put the travel ban on last night from like 9 o'clock last night until like 9 o'clock this morning. There was a travel ban on in New York City because it's just been crazy outside. But yeah, shout out to all the supporters. Do not worry. Valerie still will be back with us next month, so you guys will get to ask whatever questions you didn't get to ask last week. We're gonna get back to all of that, so do not don't even trip. We got y'all. But yeah, shout out to all the supporters. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. And of course, y'all see the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/For the Fans Productions. And if you're not in New York City on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. and you can't watch us on Verizon 43, do not worry. All you got to do is go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. Again, that's Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. And make sure you guys subscribe to the two best podcasts moving. That's the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. Yeah, man, we got a lot going on. But with that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my brother, my co-host Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in 2 Games. We up out of here. Peace.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the king.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.